Alright, here's my long overdue review of the Gemini Jets 200 United Airlines A319. I said I would post this video quite some time ago. Unfortunately, I lost the file, so I figured I had some time on my hands. I'd go ahead and remake it. As you can see, this is United Airlines. This is their 1990s paint scheme, also known as the business suit colors. You can kind of see why it looks, it's a rather executive paint scheme, if you ask me. Of course, growing up in Chicago, this was the paint scheme I saw for a solid 13 years of my life. This was United's paint scheme until they switched over to their new colors, which now, if the merger between United and Continental goes through, then they're going to switch over to the Continental colors and fly under the name United. I'm not happy about that. It's I personally think that the United logo is a little more well known, and I think there's more history behind the United logo and the United scheme, paint scheme and such, versus Continental's globe. And I don't care for the paint scheme on Connie's airplanes at all. But let's get back to the airplane itself. It's a little dusty. It's been sitting on the shelf, and I dusted it off a little bit, but I wanted to throw this video together. It's a very nice model. It's actually one of my favorites. What I like about it is obviously the A319 is a small airplane. You can see by that right there, small aircraft. So naturally, when it's 1200, it's going to be smaller than, say, a 777, like the American Airlines 777. But it's a nice addition to a collection, especially when you collect a lot of heavies like I do. Bought a UPS 747 400F, large model, great model, but hard to fit on a shelf. This pretty easy. The paint, as usual, from the Gemini and their 1200 line. Paint is very nicely done. Detail, especially on your doors and on your hatches and such, the detail is very well executed. Star Alliance logo, you take a magnifying glass and you can read right there. It says Star Alliance right on the nose of the aircraft. Obviously, baggage compartment doors, standard hole for Gemini Jets stand. This came with, I actually couldn't tell you which stand this came with. It's in the box, and the box at this point is not easily accessible. For anybody who collects these aircraft, you know the stands are a huge issue that Gemini has yet to solve. They didn't even bother to put a stand hole or make a stand at all for the 747. It's just so heavy. Now, there is one issue I do have with this model. There's always got to be one issue, isn't there? Now, this one is rather noticeable, not as much on camera, but when you have it in your hand, you can see it. The Taylor vertical stabilizer was glued in crooked. That's a little more noticeable. Yeah, you can see that. Now, could I fix it? Yeah, but I would have to pry the tail out, and I just don't feel like doing that. Because a lot of times when you pry parts out and break the glue, it can take paint off with it. So I could lose blue striping on the tail. I could lose gray on the fuselage. It's kind of a messy game. So until the tail itself loosens or something happens to the tail that allows me to reglue it, I'm not going to fret about it that much. So again, obviously it's the old 1990s colors, which has actually grown on me now that I don't see it anymore. You only miss something until it's gone. So your fans and the jet turbines do spin. They're set in there kind of crooked. There isn't a lot of precision when it comes to the actual turbines, but this one looks better than this one. This one actually kind of sits rather crooked, but it's not that hard to note. It's not easily noticeable unless you really handle the model. All of the landing gear do rotate or spin. Front landing gear pivots back and forth. These do not move as easily and freely as your rear landing gear. But really, if you're paying this amount of money for a model, usually you wouldn't be rolling it around on your coffee table. It's kind of a lot of money to play with. And then when you do that, you flatten out the tires. Because a lot of times when, not that I have any experience doing this, of course, but a lot of times if you land a little too hard, sometimes the wheels will lock up and then you get a flat spot on the actual landing gear itself. So let's see what else is there to talk about on this aircraft. Your wing detail, pretty standard Gemini. It's actually not as exaggerated as some models. The 747-400, actually, I was rather disappointed on the wing detail. Not terribly impressed. And then the paint blotched up on the right wing, so a lot of the detail actually isn't there. It's missing because paint gathered. But on this model, paint was evenly sprayed. The detail is there, but it's not terribly exaggerated, which is why I've always had an issue with Gemini, especially in their 1-400 line. The detail is just so... I'll exaggerate by saying it looks like somebody took a buck knife and just carved in the flaps and the ailerons and the spoilers. In their 1-400 line, it is, especially compared to Dragon Wings, which molds their wings out of plastic versus die-cast metal, which allows for greater detail, but a lot of people say it's not a true die-cast model then. But on these, it's subtle. It's just like it is on the real thing. So, and yeah, your winglets painted blue on the outside, gray on the inside, just like the real thing. And I think that's just about it. Registration number is real. It is it's an actual aircraft. For those of you who don't know and are kind of getting into collecting these things, an aircraft model with a real registration number means it was modeled after an actual airplane that flies. This plane flies under United Airlines under the registration N808UA. Having an actual registration number adds to the value of the model versus when a lot of A380 models were coming out, like corporate models, or Gemini had a sting where they were making a lot of 1-400 787 models, but they were getting registrations like N787AN or NA Northwest or something like that, or N787ANA. You get the idea. You can see the 787 is right in there. They're using that as a number just to have it on the plane. That actually takes away from the value of the model. That's why a lot of collectors chose not to purchase A380 or 787 models until the actual aircraft was flying under the certain airline that they wanted to buy. Same with the Lufthansa A380. Just went into service, so we're going to get a model here shortly with the actual registration number on it. And then you can pick up that model instead of the fake registration. So I'll try and post some more videos, try and keep more up to date. In August I'll be away for 3 months, United States Marine Corps boot camp. So I highly doubt they're going to let me make YouTube videos on technology, music, and airplanes. So I'll try and get a few up. I know I have a lot of viewers out there, a lot of people have been subscribing lately, and I kind of have been on a dry spell, so sorry about that. Alright, well, this has been my review, United Airlines, A319, Gemini Jets 1-200. Thanks for watching.